Welcome to the show that loves all things movies. It is Let's Be Real, and on today's episode, we are going to be covering how Aaron Taylor Johnson has been formally offered the role for James Bond. We're going to be talking about that new trailer for Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, and that heavily disliked trailer for The Acolyte, a Star Wars spin-off show that is dropping on Disney+. Then we're going to be talking about Henry Cavill in Deadpool and Wolverine. Yes, you did hear me right. Henry Cavill is apparently in Deadpool and Wolverine. And then we're going to be moving on to Box Office Pie, and that is going to be determining what will be the highest grossing movie in the stacked year of 2025. I'm James, that's Nayan, and we're coming to you from Australia and New Zealand. All right, so before we jump straight into things here, we just want to hear from you guys. So head on over to Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, any of the social media platforms. Give us ideas, suggestions, topics. We can cover it right here on the show. Appreciate everyone joining us today. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so my pick for James Bond, ever since Daniel Craig has hung it all up and died as James Bond, apparently. Aaron Taylor Johnson has been offered the role. I have been a huge advocate for Aaron Taylor Johnson to be in this role. Nayan, you are the James Bond guy here. You are the bigger fan for that character and for that franchise. I think you've seen all of them, or at least most of them, at least. All of them? There we go. So Aaron Taylor Johnson to be the next James Bond. If he were to accept this role, are you for or against?
I am so not against, I am fully for. This is
for Craven the Hunter as James Bond.
Craven the Hunter's fucking trash, alright? This is a completely different role. This is
Name's seen it.
Yeah, I have. Don't go see it, because you'll just waste your time like Madam Web. Even the actors don't go see it. But no, I am fully on board with this. I think he's a fantastic actor. We all know that he has that capabilities as an actor. I mean, just go look at Nocturnal Animals. He is perfect in a serious role. Go look at something like Bullet Train. He's perfect in a goofy role.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? Like, he can do it all. I think this is a good step for him in regards to playing a character he hasn't quite played yet, if that made any sense. You know, he hasn't really played that sort of suave sort of character yet.
Yep.
Or at least not anything that I have seen. But he definitely has that look to play that character. He definitely has that build. He's young enough as well, so you can definitely squeeze milk at least 3, 4, maybe 5 films out of him due to his age. So yeah, I think he's a fantastic actor. The fact that he's so young means that he can do some of his own stunts if he wishes to. But yeah, this is a good pick. I think he'll be able to capture both, the suave side of James Bond along with the 00 agent side as well. In regards to where I want this film to go, I think if they're going to cast Aaron Taylor Johnson, it'll have to be him coming up those ranks. For either first becoming James Bond or just before he gets that 00 title. I think just with the age with him, it'll fit well, at least for the first movie at least, and then the second movie it can be like, how the Batman was his year 2 as Batman, then James Bond 2 would be his like year 1 as 007. But the first one will be him getting that 007 title.
So it shouldn't go the DCEU way of having old James Bond straight from the beginning, right?
Yeah. So I think ideally what I'd like personally is him getting that 00 title, him earning it, and then films after that, at least the film straight after it is him at least 1 year deep into that 00 title where he's still a little bit naive and still a bit of a rookie, and then obviously film 2, film 3, film 4 he matures.
And so yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, man, I'm 100% on board for this. This has been my go-to, I guess, fan cast or pick, whatever you want to call it, to play James Bond. And it's because I believe Aaron Taylor Johnson can bring something a little bit different to James Bond. We have such a picture and an idea of what James Bond is, what he's meant to be. And I think Aaron Taylor Johnson can, portray or do it in a new way, take it in a little bit new direction, but not so dramatically where people are like, oh, what the fuck is this? This is not James Bond that I know. But he can, it's still, because he's British and stuff, and he's going to have that youth, that explosiveness to him. But I think because of the youth, you can take it in a little bit more, I guess, edgier direction. You can have a little bit more of a, kind of a grizzled, kind of ruthless James Bond, at least for the starting, as he kind of becomes that figure, as you were saying before. But if we started off with Aaron Taylor-Johnson's kind of him as an agent becoming James Bond, kind of just being a little bit ruthless, having that edge, just having, I guess, perhaps some trauma in his past where he doesn't trust anyone and he just kind of kills on sight, or something less dramatic than that. I reckon that would be a great way to take the character of James Bond. Obviously, you have to keep some of the core elements to what makes James Bond. Otherwise, it's no longer James Bond. It's too many times I've said James Bond in a row, but you get the picture. Like, you're the big James Bond guy, and I've seen all the Daniel Craig stuff. I've been here and there with the other stuff, and I'm not a big James Bond fan. They don't really interest me as much, but I have loved some of the recent ones that Daniel Craig has done. Do you want the same old James Bond, or is it time they go and are you after something different as a James Bond fan?
Probably something different, I mean, the really early eras of James Bond, they're all very similar, the womanizer type character with what they did was that, and they shot nothing like technical about gun handling or anything like that. And I understand that that's not really James Bond's MO, but we did see a little bit of that with Daniel Craig. We saw him both be, that playboy sort of side and also that high technical sort of agent as well. So I'd like a little bit something similar to Daniel Craig's, but just a bit different to that, maybe a bit more, technical, not to the extremes of John Wick in terms of fighting or gun style, but something a little bit more to show that, he can actually have a fight without just being a brawler. Like, he has that technical sort of fighting element.
Combat
to him.
Yeah, for sure. And what about, I don't know, has any of the James Bond movies been rated R? Or are they all just blurring that line?
I don't know. I think they're all blurred. I can't remember if the older ones were or not. If so, they'll be pretty close.
Would you like
from my memory
an Aaron Taylor-Johnson James Bond movie?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
well, there we go. I didn't even finish the question, and he wants it. But yeah, no, I honestly think Aaron Taylor-Johnson. I think he's the right pick. Is there anyone that you can think of off the top of your head that you would rather than Taylor-Johnson?
Not rather, more just in the same lines of him. First names would be Henry Cavill. Obviously, the work he did in Man from U.N.C.L.E. clearly shows he can play that sort of spy type of character.
Hey, wait, you haven't seen Argyle yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
No, you don't want Henry Cavill.
I can't say what I'm about to say. All good. Anyway, Tom Hiddleston, his work in The Night Manager. I know when The Night Manager came out, there was a lot of comments about him.
Yeah.
A lot of comments about him wanting to be James Bond just because his portrayal in The Night Manager was so James Bond-esque. So I think it would be a good fit. Probably a bit of an older James Bond. Then you also have another popular favourite, which is Taron Egerton. He's young, similar to Aaron Taylor-Johnson, a bit younger. So there's a lot more that you can do with him in terms of story-wise and how many amount of films you can have as well. Or, you know what? Did anyone even know Daniel Craig before James Bond? I highly doubt that. So pick someone else random, not a big name, and build up a new star.
What did Daniel Craig do before James Bond? I actually don't know.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, okay. Henry Cavill, I don't think he is a good enough actor to do the role. I'm sorry. There's no performance that he's done where I'm like, wow, that's great acting. He's always just been serviceable. Taron Egerton, I love that pick and I love him as an actor, but it's just far too similar to the King's, not the King's speech, the King's man, the King's men.
It's not Colin Farrell, bro.
Yeah, so it's just too similar of a performance there, I feel, where you would just kind of get like a little bit of deja vu, I guess. And Tom Hiddleston, I think he would be great, but I think that opportunity has passed for him. Although I do love those two picks besides Henry Cavill. I think he's just far too obvious of a selection as well.
I think when it comes to anything British, the first two people is Cavill or Egerton. Actually, no, Fassbender. I think Michael Fassbender will be an excellent James Bond.
We did just see him in The Killer. But I mean, I think he might be at the age too where it might be a little bit too late. A little bit too late for that. You know, why don't we just throw a curveball in here and just say Daniel Radcliffe?
Nah, too short.
Little James Bond, man. I'm down for a little James Bond, bro. Like, all the villains would just underestimate who he is and be like, this is your 007? And then he just kills them all. Instantly. Gone. I would love it.
Isn't that him in like Guns Off in Kimbo or something?
I haven't actually seen that movie. I still want to see that movie. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, but hey, Wolverine, the comic book character, not the movie version. He's like 5'2" or something, isn't he? He's a small fella.
Same height as me.
Yeah, there you go. 5'3".
If I am a short boy.
Yeah, we both are. We're short kings, not boys. Come on, Nayan. All right. So, for you guys watching, what do you think about Aaron Taylor-Johnson as James Bond? Is he the right fit for this new era of James Bond? People are going all different directions with this new casting. It's turning to a casting kind of announcement that's similar to Fantastic Four in terms of anticipation. I don't know when it's going to happen, but if you guys do agree with Aaron Taylor-Johnson as James Bond, be sure to comment below. If you disagree, go down to the comments and say who you would rather have as James Bond, and we can have a chat about it there. Otherwise, we are going to move on now to that new trailer for Furiosa. This is Nayan's most anticipated movie for 2024. It's the man that doesn't want to give Dune that #1 spot at all costs. Hates the franchise, apparently. All right, so Furiosa is obviously about that. It's the origin story of Furiosa. We saw her in Mad Max Fury Road, and it's just about her coming to the way she was, which is a very interesting character. If you've seen Mad Max Fury Road, she has a little robot arm and all that kind of stuff. So, Nayan, what do you think of this new trailer? We both love that first one. What do you think of this next one here? Does it elevate your anticipation? Lowers it? Where are you at?
Well, it elevates it by tenfold. I am thankful and I'm happy that I put it as my #1 because holy shit, this was even better than that first trailer, you know? If 2022 was like the year of air and water and 2023 was the year of plastic and explosions, then 2024 is the year of the desert. We have Dune and now we have this, which is all set in the desert, full of sand, you know? Yeah.
So good.
That's why you have me on board, G. But yeah, it looks fucking fantastic. It seems to be capturing everything that Mad Max Fury Road did right and just bringing it into this. It's not enhancing it in any way. It's just doing what it did right and bringing it into this movie, which is what a lot of sequels and even prequels don't seem to understand. They either try to go bigger or better, where they don't understand that the same is good sometimes, you know.
Sometimes.
Chris Hemsworth is awesome in this. He's something that we've never seen before, you know. He's this goofy sort of bogan Australian accent sort of guy that is going to be absolutely menacing, you know. Anya Taylor-Joy. I was about to say Aaron Taylor-Johnson.
New topic, man. New topic.
Anya Taylor-Joy looks fantastic as Furiosa, you know. I know there was a lot of complaints out there saying that, it should have been Charlize Theron, but I think Anya Taylor-Joy is good, you know, like she is a competent actress in herself, and I think she'll be able to nail this role. the visual styles, I touched upon it before in my comments, saying that it brought what was so good about Mad Max Fury Road into this. The visual style is exactly the same. You just need to look at the title card off when it said, I can't remember the exact word, but it said something from George Miller, and it was those big block things as a vehicle was moving through. That's so Mad Max. You have that same sort of visual style as well, and the sound as well of the engines, exactly the same. So I think we're in for an absolute doozy here. I think on I can't remember what it was, either the first trailer, or when we did our most anticipated, I said it will either fall just below or just on the mark of Mad Max Fury Road. I think I've changed my mind, and I think it's going to either be on the par of Mad Max Fury Road, if not a little bit better.
Damn, this man is doubling down on it. Oh, dude, I mean, I commend you for that, because doubling down on that kind of thing against Mad Max Fury Road is a tough thing to do, because that movie it's damn near perfection, especially when it comes to action movies. I think it may just be, I don't know, I have to see all the movies, but it's one of top 3, top 2 of the century. Actually, no, maybe top 3, top 5 at least. Top 5 action movie of the century, right? Mad Max Fury Road is a masterpiece in its own right, and you are absolutely correct when you say that it brings all the good things that we love from Mad Max Fury Road straight to this one. Visually, they look basically the same. It looks like they were filmed back to back. The visual style, the way the camera moves, the camera angles, zooming up to the engines really closely. Even the dialogue because we didn't get much dialogue in the first one, we get a lot more dialogue in this one. The dialogue and the way the narrative seems to be playing out it's very, very similar. And that was one of the criticisms that I thought was unfair with Mad Max Fury Road. Is like, but the narrative, the story, it's so basic. I'm like,
what's the point?
Yeah, like what's wrong with that? What's wrong with just an awesome It was a show of the technical production, 100%. Like they don't always need great stories. You can just sit back, watch, and be like absolutely awed about how beautiful and grandiose all of these stunts and how visually grand and how beautiful it sounds. You got Junkie XL here. You can really feel a little bit of development in the composition here, assuming it is in the movie, that is. But yeah, no, you're completely right. Sometimes it is best that movies, double down and do the same thing that have worked and do it in the sequel. The Hangover is an example where you don't do the same thing and do it in the sequel. You change things up. But this one, I think, is probably the one where you'd be like, okay, yeah, we should just do the same thing again. Even better. I am not on the train with you right now where I'm saying it's going to be at least at Mad Max level or above. But it's going to be damn near close, but by the feel of it. Anya Taylor-Joy, man, she is an absolute gem. She's so good. And I never saw those comments that you saw. And I just, if you can, after this podcast is done, just send me the people who said that, because that is absolutely ridiculous. Because this is an origin story. It's a younger Furiosa. It would make no sense for Charlize Theron to be playing this part. As great as she was for Mad Max Fury Road. But yeah, man, I'm on board with you. This movie looks so damn good. I can't wait.
Oscar season is going to be really interesting next year, because not in terms of best picture, best actor, we got that this year. Next year is all about the technicals. You literally have Doom Part 2 and Furiosa going toe to toe.
Well, yeah, they both dominated their, like the previous films, both dominated their respective award seasons. So yeah, it could have.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting next year, Oscars.
I'm just trying to think of anything that could actually rival either of those two. Or do we have our lineup already for?
I think we have a lineup because 2024 is just so weak because everything went to 2025.
Nothing comes to the top of my head. Yeah. I mean, there will be a few things that sneak in there that we don't even know about now. So it should be interesting. I don't know who's going to come out on top of those two. My mind says Dune, and my heart says Dune. So sorry about that. But Furiosa it has the power to really challenge it. The one thing that doesn't have the power to challenge things is the Acolyte. Supposedly, if you go off the like to dislike ratio on YouTube, there are more dislikes for the trailer for The Acolyte, which is a Disney Plus series taking place in the Star Wars universe. And it is about, the emerging darkness, the kind of, I guess, the dark side powers coming to the fray during the High Republic era. So, according to my sources, this takes place about 100 years before Star Wars: A Phantom Menace. And I guess that's all you really need to know about it. It's something fresh, it's something new. But, Nayan, what do you think of the first trailer for The Acolyte?
I'll start visually. Visually, it looks good. Visually it looks similar to what we've got from recent Star Wars films and TV series. The Force Awakens and those films, and even The Mandalorian Boba Fett. I think it looks really, really good. It has that same sort of scale in terms of the ships and obviously the cinematography. I did hear, I don't know if it's true, but I did hear that the Acolyte is supposed to be more focused on the Sith and the dark side. And based on that and watching this trailer, you wouldn't think so, because it was fully focused on the Jedi, and then you get a little teaser for Sith at the end. So it's a little bit mixed bag right now on where the story's going to go, if it is going to follow the Jedi. If it is going to follow the Jedi, then cool. This first trailer is fantastic, because it nails what its story is going to be. If it's focused on the Sith, then why the hell would you show your first trailer fully focused on the Jedi for? Stupid. Me personally, I would rather have it be focused on the Sith, because can you name anything that has been based on a Sith besides video games? Not really, I mean, an argument could be made that, the Skywalker Saga, Darth Vader was all about him. Yeah, no, shut up. he was good for like majority of that whole saga, and then even the main focus of the original was purely on Luke, who was training to become a Jedi, but just having a movie purely focused on the dark side and the Sith, I think that would be a lot more interesting. There's a lot to do with that, we've seen movies, in fact, where the villains are getting a spotlight. You have Joker, Venom, to a lesser degree, they're all villains in their own right. So why not just have a Sith helm its own film or franchise or TV series? Acolyte, if what I'm hearing is true, if it is supposed to be based on a Sith, is a perfect way to do it. One thing I really do like is how it's different, it's not fully focused on that Skywalker sort of era, between Phantom and Rise. The last one, I forgot it. That's how bad it is.
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. It's not set within there anywhere, it's set before that, which is really cool. It's something that we barely see nowadays in mainstream Star Wars, so I think a lot of people will be turned off because they'll be expecting it to be set between there and hoping for cameos, but I just don't think people are ready for anything new when it comes to Star Wars, really.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because we're in uncharted territory in terms of the timeline based in either TVs or movies. Unless the animated movies covered it, I haven't followed those, of course. But yeah, for the life of me, because I watched this trailer after that I saw the fact that there were more dislikes than likes in the trailer, and so I watched it afterwards, and I was scratching my head afterwards. I was like, what was in there that was so bad? And I just couldn't figure it out, because it kind of had everything that we kind of want and need in Star Wars. I'm not saying that I'm like highly anticipated this. I'm counting the days, ticking off the calendar or whatever. But this is something that we want and something that we need from Star Wars. We need something fresh, something out of the, Star Wars 1 to Star Wars 9. We need something out of that era, something completely fresh and new. And we also want more stuff that's, kind of intrinsic to Jedi, Sith, the Force. And now we're going to see all of that come to light with the Acolyte. didn't mean to make that rhyme. But we are going to have, the kind of dark side emerging and, the Jedi kind of overcoming that. And I don't really know what's wrong about that at all. So the likes just like surprised me. Perhaps it's the characters in this, and perhaps it comes from a deeper lore that I don't know or understand. That's probably some, super fan of Star Wars, if that is the case. But yeah, honestly, like the visuals, it looks fine. The only thing that I can think of is that I've sat down here right now with you and I've told you that this is something that we've wanted and something that we've needed. But I don't find myself, like, excited.
I think
Perhaps that's the reason.
Yeah, I think it's because of the way Star Wars franchise has been since it's been acquired by Disney. I know recently, I think last week or early this week, Disney announced that, it's cracked, I think, 10, 12 billion, 14, something along those lines. Mm-hmm. Within the past 12 years since acquiring it. Yeah, cool. But the quality of the content that they've been pushing out hasn't exactly been that great. Force Awakens was good. I think we can all agree on that. It was good.
I love Force Awakens, honestly. Yeah.
It was good. It felt like a Star Wars film, and it was awesome. And then Rise of the Jedi?
No, The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. See, this is... Yeah. The Last Jedi was a huge mixed bag. You had half the population hating it, half the population loving it. And then you have Rise of Skywalker, where the whole population was hating it. Questionable plot choices as well. Then you have Mandalorian, which was great, beloved. Season 1 and 2. Season 3 came out, and everyone's like, Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett. I mean, you have Andor, which was fantastic. But then you also have stuff like Ahsoka, which was hit or miss. So I think they're just too volatile in the content that they're putting out. It's not all consistent. You have your highs and you have your lows. It's like MCU Phase 4 right now, where majority is lows, but there have been the occasional peaks. So I think that's why you're probably feeling that way. Is because, you are excited, but you just don't know what to trust, because you don't know if it's going to be up here or down here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I think, I'm, at least for me personally, I'm kind of shifting, at least for Star Wars. I'm not ready to say it for other franchises, but I am starting to get to that mindset where I will watch it based on reputation. If, unless we get early access screeners from Disney, then I'll give it a go and I'll take a little stab at it and see if it's any good. But otherwise, if we don't, then I'm relying solely on reputation to see if it is worth my investment of time. Specifically because TV shows take up a lot of time from you. And you don't want to start a show, watch 3 hours of it and be like, I'm not into it, I'm done. That's 3 hours wasted, It's quite crucial sometimes. And so for these Star Wars ones, you just kind of have to see how people are responding and see if you're going to actually like it. That's what I did with Andor. In fact, I waited way too long with Andor. I couldn't trust Star Wars at that point. I waited too long. But hey, the reputation was great, and I watched it, and it was great. So I can admit that fault in me for waiting so long. But it taught me a lesson on just waiting and seeing how people respond to it before actually getting invested in it. I'm just not at the level where I can trust Star Wars enough to just know that we're going to get instant gold, or it's going to, provide some kind of gratification as a fan. Because as you just outlined with the history of, the Disney Star Wars era, it hasn't been all consistent. In fact, I would say it's mostly been pretty shit, to be perfectly honest. Or The Force Awakens, they're really your highest of highs.
And Mandalorian Season 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Forgot about that one. They were great too. But yeah, it's just all over the place. I hope that this is great though, because as I said before, it's what we want and what we need. Star Wars is moving in an interesting direction, but for God's sakes, man, I'm sick of TV shows. I just want a movie at least of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I feeling that, or are you?
No,
too?
I am. I feel Star Wars is one of those franchises that should be on the big screen.
Right. I mean, yeah.
you just think of Star Wars, you think of the title screen, and you think of the iconic score. I mean, I have the 4Ks and I rewatched it before recently for no reason at all. I just decided to watch it. But hearing that title, sorry, my TV is there, that's why I'm pointing there. But seeing the title scroll up on my TV with the sound on is just not the same compared to a movie theater. You know,
Yeah.
Even with, I don't have surround sound, but even with surround sound, it still wouldn't capture that same, you know, thrill. I mean, I remember sitting in Force Awakens for the first time, and you know, I think 2005 was when Revenge of the Sith came out, so pretty much 10 years. And then you hear the score and you see the title, and it hit you right here. You know, you just felt all the nostalgia. You just felt like, oh shit, this is a big moment, and it was. So yeah, I think scale definitely has a part in this, and I think Star Wars is probably one of the few franchises that should be solely film based. But yeah, who knows when we're going to get the next one? I know that they're planning a few things, but there's not really been anything concrete.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. It's something that's built for the big screen. That franchise just belongs there. It really should be on the big screen at the movie theater, because it feels like it's turning into a TV franchise. There's always these Disney Plus shows and never any movies. And holy shit, man! Like, in you know, come December, it's 5 years since Rise of the Skywalker. 5 years.
God, they went by so fast.
They went by so fast. It's nearly 5 years since Endgame.
Oh my God, they went by... Bro, COVID fuck shit up, eh?
Your perception of time's like all over the place now. Yeah. But I a question to everyone watching right now. Did you guys like the trailer for The Acolyte? Are you excited for it? Is the dislike to like ratio on YouTube a little bit unfair? Apparently it was the most viewed trailer of the Disney Plus series era, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, jump into the comments. Let us know what you thought of the Acolyte trailer. Let us know if you liked it or dislike it. I'm very, very curious to see if anyone does dislike it. Let us know, because yeah, it boggles my mind. All right, we'll move on to the main story of this podcast. I think might be a little bit melodramatic there, but Henry Cavill is in Deadpool Wolverine, according to various sources, all right? Don't just watch this podcast and then watch Deadpool Wolverine and then be like, hey, actually, I'm coming back to this video 4 months later and being like, yeah, you were wrong. I've heard it from other people. I haven't not heard it myself, if that makes sense. So yeah, apparently Henry Cavill is in Deadpool Wolverine, and he will be playing a Wolverine variant in the film. So it does come from 3 different sources, and at least one of the sources that I know has been reliable majority of the time. Doesn't always have a 100% track record, but majority of the time just nails it on the head. And, you know, Deadpool Wolverine, we've had that first teaser trailer that dropped at the Super Bowl, and it is basically, the film is about Wolverine recovering from injuries, and he crosses paths with Deadpool, and it's a big multiverse saga film. So it's kind of what we want. I'm really looking forward to it. That first trailer got me hyped. Nayan, now that you know that Henry Cavill is apparently in Deadpool Wolverine, are you on board for this kind of cameo and the fact that he is a Wolverine variant?
No, not really. If I wanted Henry Cavill to be in the MCU, I'd probably want him in a more significant role other than a cameo. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, yeah, it would be awesome.
You love Henry Cavill.
Let me explain, cunt.
Oh my...
What was I saying? I prefer him in like a more full-time-ish sort of role rather than a cameo. I mean, a cameo, how long is that? Is he in it for like 20 minutes, half an hour, or 5 seconds?
Yeah.
But if it, I wouldn't mind him as a Wolverine. I mean, there has been rumors that I think MCU is set in Earth 616, and they're still yet to cast 616 as Wolverine. I think they're going down that route. Henry Cavill 616, cool. That's pretty much a full-time gig rather than a cameo. But I'd rather have him in a full-time role than rather just a cameo in in the MCU. I mean, I think he's just too big of a profile actor, and I think DC did him so bloody dirty. Superman, that he actually deserves a proper stance or a proper chance to shine in a superhero franchise. A lot of fan base and fan castings have been for him have been Captain Britain. He has acknowledged that he has acknowledged it'll be great to play a Brit, which is funny because he is a Brit, but majority of his roles has been an American. So yeah, I'm a little bit on the fence with this. I'd have to wait and see if it's true and see what sort of role it is. But if it's just a quick second cameo, it's just a bit of a waste of talent for me. I think he definitely deserves a bigger spotlight in the MCU as a main sort of character, whoever that may be, for sure.
So you're not fan of just those really kind of those big actors coming in for just a silly fun cameo for a very short amount of time. You just want you want those kind of big A-list actors to be in heavier roles in these franchises.
Depending on the actor, really. I mean,
so look at Deadpool 2 and Brad Pitt on the power line.
Fine. That's
fine. Good.
That's fine. Yeah. But I think this Henry Cavill just has a bit more history behind him. The whole bring it again, the whole DC arc, and then the whole rumors and fan castings and anticipation of him wanting to be Captain Britain. I think Marvel's smart enough to capitalize on that and make him a big franchise player rather than just a quick second cameo from a different universe, and then he can piss off again. If he's like I said, if he's Earth 616's Wolverine, awesome, because we know we're going to get him in multiple movies after that.
Right.
But then again, what's the difference between him and Hugh Jackman? They're both tall, butch sort of guys. It's not really Wolverine, who's my height.
I mean, the difference between Hugh Jackman and Henry Cavill is one's the better actor. That's Hugh Jackman. So I guess that plays a strong part in it. I guess, yeah, now I see where your big Henry Cavill fandom comes from. And it's the fact that he was done dirty at DC. I think you just want prosperity for him as an actor. And I agree with you in that sense. Like, he was done so dirty by DC, right? Like, first casted out after shitty writing, not shitty performance. I will stick to that. I think he did fine as Superman. Not great, not bad. It was shitty writing that made him that made the whole thing shit. And then he was kind of cast out, new direction, all this kind of stuff from DC, and then they're like, oh wait, no, he's going to show up at the end of, was it Black Adam?
Black Adam.
Yeah, and then he made like an Instagram post like saying like it's been a hard a few months, a few years, or whatever it was. Like I'm glad you guys all supported me. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm so excited to get back into the role, and then. Oh, wait, no, James Gunn's DCU changes everything, which I'm not against. Like, DC needed a massive change that restarted everything because it was just too far gone at that point. But Henry Cavill, yeah, he was done dirty right from the very beginning, and I think he deserves a chance at redemption. And saying that, and it's not because I've put Deadpool Wolverine as my 6th most anticipated for the year. I'm very excited for it. I'm very happy that Henry Cavill is going to play a Wolverine variant. I think that's just, it's fun, it's silly, it's something that can just be enjoyable for whether it's, 30 seconds or 30 minutes. I'm just going to have a ton of fun with it. I know that much. So I am excited for it. But it's the fact that it is just a variant. And apparently it will not be 616. I should have said that before I even proposed you the question. But it is not the MCU version of Wolverine. It is just a variant. So he can come back, as Captain Britain or whatever role he wants to be in the MCU. So there is still a chance there for him to, have some kind of significant role in the MCU moving forward. Even though I'm not a big advocate for him to be in the MCU because, like going from DC and being like just jumping to MCU, it's just not the good underdog story that I want for him. I want him to have something a little bit better than that. But yeah, man, I'm fully on board for him to just be a Wolverine variant, have fun with it, be in the MCU, enjoy the moment, and then just go on to whatever he's going to go on to in the future. I know I don't always talk highly of Henry Cavill because he is a very mid actor, like just generic and
I think he hasn't
average.
picked the right roles.
I mean, I saw him in Argo, man. He's just a 5 out of 10. Like every single movie, like he's just, I don't know, very. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it at this point. It's just very generic, very mainstream. It's never bad or it's never great. It's just somewhere very in the middle. Hence why
At least
I call
he's
him
consistent. He's consistently average.
Yeah, he is consistent average. I don't think I don't. There must be a bad role for him. I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine. Where are you at with that? Are you getting onto the anticipated side of it, or are you still like MCU? I can't trust it that much anymore.
I think Deadpool's an exception. I can get on board with Deadpool. If it wasn't Deadpool, then I'd still be cautious. But, you know, Deadpool is Deadpool. It's the first Deadpool in the MCU. It's R-rated, which is a first for MCU as well. You bring him back. Hugh Jackman as Logan/Wolverine when he's suddenly retired from Logan. So I think there's all these elements to it to not be excited. If you're not excited for this film, there's something wrong with you. Just call your closest physio. No, not physio. Psychiatrist.
Yeah, I mean, don't take it too personally, guys. Nane did not have it in his top 10, I believe. Or did you have it 10th? Maybe, I don't know. You had it.
I can't remember. I'll have a quick look now, but I'm pretty sure I actually don't know. I think you might be right. And you are... Oh, shit. Fuck. Yeah, you are right. I didn't have it on there at all.
Yeah, see? But Nayan has now seen the first trailer, the first footage from it. So, guys, it's going to be good. Nayan didn't have it in his most anticipated. So it will be great. Just rest assured, the Nayan curse does not affect Deadpool and Wolverine.
It's a blessing for you guys. It's a curse for me. Because I... non-stop hear it from this guy.
He takes it on the chin. I appreciate it. Anyway, the question for you guys. I know you guys are probably you guys are really anticipated for Deadpool and Wolverine. If not, sure, comment below. Otherwise, we're going to focus on Henry Cavill on part of it. Have you guys heard about this news? Are you excited for Henry Cavill to play as Wolverine in Deadpool and Wolverine? Do let us know below if you'd want to see him in the MCU in a more longer, significant role. Comment what role he should play down below. Would really appreciate that. Otherwise, Nayan, we're going on to the most delicious segment of movie news, and that is box office pie. Unfortunately, I don't have a real pie, and even more sadly, we are not together to enjoy the pie that we had on our one segment. Yeah, Nayan nodding his head is disappointed.
This is a segment I hate so much because of how hungry it makes me, but I love it so much in terms of how entertaining it is. So, yeah, the first time James did it, I craved a pie. The second time he did it, he brought a pie. Satisfying.
Exactly. Yes. So to anyone who is watching or listening to this, if you haven't heard one of these segments before, it's very simple. You guys know what a pie chart is, right? It's a whole circle, and it covers up to 100%. So what percentage is it's just a slice of a pie. So if it's 3%, it's a little tiny piece of the pie. If it's 15%, it's a pretty significant chunk of pie that you get. And basically for this one, it is a box office pie. So box office pie is simply whoever has the biggest chunk of pie, that is the percentage that I believe is going to win the box office crown for 2025. And the fact that I focus on 2025, one, it would be cheating if I did 2024. It's too late for that. Dune is actually really killing at the box office, so I can't do that. So 2025 is where we look now for box office pie. And how good, because 2025 looks great. A little spoiler for Nayan here. If the Batman Part 2 was still in 2025, it wouldn't win the pie. It's just not that good for it. So we're going to move to what is actually going to win the pie. Me and Nayan, I've shown Nayan the pie and the kind of chart that we have. But we'll make this far more interesting when I actually edit it into the video. So we're going to go with our 0%ers, the people that get no percentage of a pie at all. These are the ones that, in my opinion, have 0% of winning the box office crown. The first one is Tron Ares, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually quite excited for this. I think it'll be interesting, but I just don't think there is zero chance that it is going to get it. Blade, it's had about 30 directors, and Mahershala Ali is still on for playing. Kudos to that guy. I don't know how he takes all this shit, but yeah, I just don't think that it has any chance of getting it. Moving on to another MCU one, the Thunderbolts. And it just decided to choose the most uninteresting MCU characters to put together into a squad. It is Suicide Squad Part 2, except I might be less excited for it. So 0% to win the box office. Captain America Brave New World changed its name to the most boring title of all time, Brave New World. It was Serpent Society before, wasn't it? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently the Serpent Society has been cut entirely from this film as well.
Well, there you go. There's more weight to this statement now that it has 0% chance to win the box office crown. I actually don't think it's going to do very good at all. I think the audience will be a little bit shocked or taken aback by Anthony Mackie leading this, and that's nothing against that. I thought what they did in Falcon and Winter Soldier were very good, but I don't think the general overall movie-going demographic are going to really buy into it as much as us diehard fans. All right, we move on to the 1%ers now. Now, the 1%ers have a 1% chance to win the box office crown. And, we're getting to the point where there might not be ones that you agree with, but I'm going to try and explain why. And I hope you guys are open-minded about this one. So, Moana live action, 1%. Now, The Rock is a draw when he's in animated movies. He's more of a draw when he's live action. We saw what Jumanji did. That movie nearly got $1 billion. So Moana live action, perhaps I underestimate the overall movie-going audience. Perhaps they will be open to a Moana live action, what is it, 9, 8, 7 years after the OG animated
2016.
one? 2016. So 8 years. So 8 years. Maybe they're more open than that, and they're like, oh, yo, we want to see The Rock as that. The fact that The Rock's in it gives me that 1%. And anything that The Rock is in, except for an A24 movie that he is going to be in, I will give 1% to. Any blockbuster that he's in. And it's only because of The Rock. I think perhaps it might have a chance. A sliver. The next one I got is Michael. And this is based on Michael Jackson and the nephew to real life Michael Jackson plays Michael Jackson. I think that is a really interesting part of the film that I think will get a ton of coverage. The fact that it's actually his nephew playing him in the movie, I think that will make people want to see it a whole lot more. The fact is, the reason why I have it as 1%, sure, we saw Freddie Mercury, Bohemian Rhapsody get 900 and something million. We also saw Elvis get in the, I think, 200 or the 300s. And I mean, sorry to Queen, but Elvis Presley has a much larger history than Queen. And we still saw him struggle at the box office. So it completely depends on the casual audience for this one, and if Michael can tailor to them as well. But I have started to hear a little bit of some questionable things about this movie already. So I think Michael has a chance because Michael Jackson, you just can't go against his legacy. So yeah, he has a chance as well. How to Train Your Dragon. That is not How to Train Your Dragon 4. That is the live action How to Train Your Dragon. And the only reason why I put it in here is if they can really change it up from the live action version and they make it almost quite similar to Game of Thrones. People love dragons, clearly. We saw what Game of Thrones did and the people that brought into it. If it can capture a tone similar to that and get us invested in characters in a very different way than the animated thing, then I actually think there might be some untapped potential here. We'll have to see, though. All right, we're moving to some heavyweights now, and that is the 2%ers. So the 2%ers, like, got Mission Impossible 8. No, it's not Dead Reckoning Part 2 anymore, but it is Mission Impossible 8. It is apparently the final Mission Impossible movie, and thank God, because Tom Cruise is 60 plus now, so that is no longer a viable movie franchise for him. So yeah, Mission Impossible 8, I think it deserves 2%, and that is only because it is the last one. If they decide that there's a 9th one now, then this goes down to 0%. I'll do this segment later on, just to adjust where everyone is at. But yeah, 2%, only because it's the last one. But Dead Reckoning Part 1, Dead Reckoning at all, just the box office there did not give me faith that it is going to win the crown for next year. Next one we got is Snow White, and this would be a lot higher if Rachel Zegler wasn't destroying the legacy of Snow White in front of our eyes. The reputation for this movie is absolutely horrific, but hey, it is an online voice that is saying how bad Snow White is and how much they don't want to see it. That is not representative of the general movie-going audience. Snow White is an absolute legend to young girls, old girls, all generations at this point in time. Snow White is one of the most iconic pop culture icons of all time, and Snow White deserves a little bit of consideration. If it's great, it has potential to be, a really big player at the box office. So we'll have to see with that one. All right, at 3%, I got Fantastic Four. I know Nayan's not going to like this one. I know he probably won't agree with it, but Fantastic Four. The casual movie-going audience doesn't know Fantastic Four. I'm sorry to say. We've bought into this idea that Fantastic Four is some massive pop culture icon. I'm sorry, but instead of those shit movies from 2000 and what, no one's really heard of them. They're not big. It's only because we've been this whole casting room this whole time. So I'm sorry, the casual audience won't buy into it. I give it 3%. I think if I had to put my mark on it now, I would say 500 million is where it's going to be around. It's not going to be nearly at 900 million. People seem to think that they're a massive franchise, and I'm sorry, they're just not, but they have the potential to be. That's what I'll say. The cast didn't give me any hope. This movie can go big. I just don't think it will. The next one I got, maybe a little bit more questionable to some of you guys, but Fast X Part 2. I mean, like...
Fast X Part 2? Fast 10 Part 2?
Is it Fast 12? I don't know. I mean, I didn't know how you like
XI.
Fast X Part 2. Yeah, Fast X II. Yeah, 4% for Fast X Part 2. I mean, like, it's hard to justify it. I'm trying to articulate into words for you guys now. It's hard to justify why it's going to be Part 2. But Furious 7, that is the top 50. It's in the top 15 highest grossing films of all time. If they can capitalize on the nostalgia, if they can capitalize on the fan base that has spanned around 20 to 25 years now, and if they actually focus on it being the final, the finale, it ends everything. If it can capture on that emotional weight, man, I actually think that it can do something big. I think $1 billion is absolutely in store for it. Fast X didn't do well, but everything else has done great since then, though. Like the Furious 7, I'm trying to think of all the bloody names that it has. Fate the Furious, Fast
F9.
9, Furious. Oh, God, stupid as.
Sorry, F9, the Fast Saga.
F9. Look, there's a very high chance that the casual audience is done with this franchise and it's overstayed their welcome. In fact, I'm leaning to it, hence why it only has 4%. But don't underestimate if they lock into, those feels for the final one. We saw what it did with Furious 7. Granted, different circumstances, of course, but I think it has a chance just because of the just how well known that franchise is. Not number 5, but the one that has 5%, Superman Legacy. And now initially I had this one a little bit lower because it started the DCU. We saw it, Man of Steel only got 600 and something million. And I still believe that Superman Legacy is going to be around that 500 to 700 mark. Big range, I'd say, is 600 plus is hopefully going to be where it's at. I think it's going to be around that area. So 5% chance that it wins the box office crown because of what James Gunn is and what he can do. He is really good at making the casual audience buy into movies really well. We saw it with Guardians 1. We saw it with Guardians 3. You know, not great opening weekends, but the tail end of those led on for ages. And it led on to really impressive box office results, especially for the first one. So if Superman Legacy can do something similar, by all means, it can take the box office crown. Only 5%. But hey, we're talking about one of the most popular characters of all time in any kind of literature ever. So you can't just let that go unnoticed. Unlike Fantastic Four, Superman is actually popular. Just so you know, Nan. All right. Okay, now we're getting to the final four, the big hitters, and we have got Zootopia at 11%. Zootopia 2, I should actually rephrase that too. Zootopia 1 made $1 billion. Zootopia 2 can as well. I think people want another one of this movie, and the fact that it's taken so goddamn long for Zootopia 2 is beyond me. It made $1 billion. I think it won Best Animated Feature. Everybody loved it, and yet we're getting, you know, dumb animated sequels. But Zootopia 2 is coming, and the fact that the first one made $1 billion, I think, you know, we have real potential for the next one to go really high as well. The fact that it debuts on Thanksgiving weekend, which is where Frozen sits, it just shows you that there is a huge untapped potential for a breakout here, and Zootopia 2 can absolutely be that. Next one we got is Jurassic World 4. Expect this to move to the box office pie for 2026, because I just don't see it making that release date. But Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, that entire franchise, you just can't. You can't bet against them at the box office, even if they're garbage. If they're shit.
$1 billion Dominion.
Yeah, I mean, all the Jurassic World movies made $1 billion. So why shouldn't Jurassic World 4? It's going to have a new reinvention. People are going to be all excited again, far more than Dominion. I mean, like, you can't bet against them. So I think, I'm not going to say $1 billion is guaranteed, but 15% chance that it will take the box office crown. That may be a little bit generous, but it's perfectly capable of it. Jurassic World 4 franchise, or the Jurassic franchise, whatever, they make bank at the box office. I think they can actually be a contender. And here's one that may stir some people up, and that's Minecraft at 20%. Now this, for me, or for this film in general, I honestly think that there's no in between for this. This movie is either going to make $1.5 billion or it's going to make $150 million worldwide. I don't see a thing where it fits in the middle. Like, it's either going to be completely dog shit, and the fact that they chose to make it live action is going to completely backfire on their ass. Even if it's shot in the beautiful New Zealand, I think it's still going to backfire on them in a critical sense. But the fact that Minecraft is the most popular video game of all time based on sales at this point in time, you can't underestimate that. The generations from the 5-year-olds to, at this point, the 35-year-olds who have played this game for years, the amount of hours that are put into this game might just be 100 billion at this point. It's just insane of how much popularity this gaming franchise has. We saw Super Mario do extremely big numbers. It didn't win the box office for last year, but it came damn near close. Minecraft can absolutely contend for the box office crown for 2025, and that's why I give it 20%. And you guys know the one that I give the highest percentage to, Avatar 3, has a 35% for the box office crown in 2025. And I don't think I even need to try and explain that to you guys. I don't need to articulate it. You guys should just know that I am right about this, because who was the first person that said Avatar 2 would make $2 billion? Me. I made an article at the start of 2021. What would be the first movie to $1 billion? Hey, I got that all right. I said, depending on if the rumors are true, Spider-Man No Way Home. Boom, did that. But the first guarantee, Jurassic World. Hey, look, there you go. And the only one I got wrong from that is Top Gun Maverick, because no one saw Top Gun Maverick coming and the box office success it had. But then I followed up in that article. First movie to $2 billion. Avatar 2. And I said it was guaranteed. It's going to happen. And then look what happened. It made $2 billion. So I think it is going to make, it is going to win the box office crown. I don't think there is much debate about that. And you guys should just trust what I say about the Avatar franchise at this point. I don't know if it will make it $2 billion. I'm not there yet, but it will be 1.8 billion above. So, Nayan, your reaction to my box office pie for 2025, any that you heavy disagree with, any that should be a little bit higher?
I don't really disagree with any. Really? I think it's pretty...
Even Fantastic Four?
I don't know why you think I think Fantastic Four is going to be so big for. I don't know if this is like a meme that you're trying to start or something. It's completely bullshit. I've never been like...
You're all for Fantastic Four. Until casting was announced. Name was a big advocate for Fantastic Four.
What?
Okay, if it got the best cast,
then
could it have been?
I don't know. Maybe not. But the other Fantastic Fours we've gotten so far is just so shit. If I was the X-Men, then that'll be a different story. I'd probably have a bigger gripe if you chucked it on that 1%.
Oh, it'd have 4% chance.
Better than 1. I think Superman could be a little bit higher. I think it's just in that unknown territory without seeing much stuff right now about it. We haven't even seen Corin Sweat in the actual suit yet. But I'm sure as those details come out and we eventually get a trailer, I think you might adjust that. Completely agree about Avatar. It's pretty much like 2 things locked. It's going to get over 1.5 billion and best picture for best visual effects Oscar. It's 2 guarantees. 100%
the things
sure.
you can bet on. Yeah.
What was the second one you had? That was Minecraft. Yeah.
Minecraft.
Course.
Yeah.
Yes. Super Mario Bros. Can hit like almost 1.5 billion. Then 100% Minecraft's going to go all that way unless it's absolute trash. It's got Jason Momoa in it, so who knows? It could go either way. So yeah, but I think popularity alone would drive it, especially in the first 2 weekends, maybe 3 weekends, and then after that, I think it will probably drop significantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Snow White, I think it might sneak not quite to 1 billion, but quite close, just based on the iconic character that is, regardless of the PR damage Ziegler is trying to do to not only herself but this film. I think Snow White's too much of a popular character to do that. I mean, how Beauty and the Beast hit 1 billion, so why can't Snow White, which is like the first Disney princess? So
yeah,
by 2025, I think the movie market will be stabilized back to how it was before COVID. I mean, I know we get into that territory now already, but we had those strikes, which we can count towards blaming COVID or chunking in that COVID sort of region, but strikes preventing anything, I think, Snow White to get up there.
What about Michael? Where do you see that landing? No chance?
Nah, what do you mean no chance? No chance? Because you had it
to
1%.
top box office. Yeah, it's a 1%er.
Oh, no, fuck no chance of being the box office king. I mean, Michael Jackson is king of a lot of things, but he ain't gonna be king of box office, that's for sure. But yeah, it really depends, because Michael Jackson is definitely one of the biggest pop stars of all time, if not the biggest. He's definitely an icon for both the right and wrong reasons as well. So I think people of old, young, and new will definitely go flock to the cinemas to see the story. It just really comes down to the basics of plot and acting. There's the 2 things.
Yeah.
If it nails plot and if it nails acting, then it could potentially hit 1 billion. Potentially, I'm not saying it will, but potentially.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, who knows? I mean, he's got so many iconic songs that I'm sure a lot of people will just flock to the cinemas to hear or see, or how they're renditioned in a movie format. So it definitely has a chance to do well, but it also has a chance to flop like a fish.
Yeah. Well, Superman Legacy, I think it's very fit at 5%. I don't think it needs to be any higher than that. And I'm only saying that is because the Batman got really, really good marketing, and the movie was even better than the marketing, and it still only made 700 and something million, 730. Granted, COVID times, so it really depends on how the DC reputation is really holding up. I don't see James Gunn breaking that completely. I think its ceiling is around 900 million. I don't think a billion film is here, and I think I know Avatar's going to get to $1 billion, but some of these other movies have $1 billion potential. But maybe when that first trailer comes out, we see a little bit of a bigger slice for him. You never know. You never know.
I have a question for you. You
All
said
right.
that you're the first person to say that Avatar 2 is going to hit 2 billion. Right now, is Avatar 3 going to hit 2 billion?
No.
No. Okay.
But it's going to come damn near close. It's going to give Spider-Man No Way Home a run for its money in terms of its total gross.
And is that because between the time between Avatar 1 and 2 was, 9 years? A bit more? Is it because it's such a short gap, so the technology is not going to be as advanced, as good, as must go see to the cinema?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like a franchise that people are just dying or flocking to the cinemas to go see. It's not that kind of story. Its release date is very beneficial for it. But yeah, it just doesn't have that long break, that big, technological game changer in its arsenal this time. But this is still going to be the best we've seen, just not as big of a jump. So people are still going to go see it. It's still releasing in a very great window. It's just going to go on a little bit of a. It's just going to trend downwards, I think, until its final one. Perhaps the final one can break it, but yeah, I don't see this franchise being a $2 billion franchise for every single movie up to the fifth one. I just don't see that as a possible reality. But yeah, it's going to be a very great year for the box office. It's going to be a very great year for us movie fans. I know me and you are incredibly excited for 2025. If we had a button, we wish that we could just skip this year and we could go straight to next year. I know you and I both feel that.
Maybe after May, when Furiosa comes out, we can hit that button. But
yeah, and after Deadpool Wolverine, don't forget, lad.
oh yes, that's May as well, isn't it? No, we got
That's
delayed.
July. Yeah,
Delayed. I forgot about
to
that.
July. But then the last half of the year is just full. It's just a desert at this point. Shout out to Furiosa.
Hey, I did say that 2024 was the year of the desert, so.
Yeah, but that's in a bad way.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are done here on today's episode of Let's Be Real. I hope you guys enjoyed today's discussion as we did. Thank you so much for tuning in. Your support and engagement means a lot to us, especially as we venture out into doing video for you guys. If you guys are listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, be sure if you have some time to chill at home alone, be sure to check on YouTube, give us a watch, and then leave a comment. Everyone else who's just watching as well, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. If you liked what you hear, then yeah, be sure to subscribe, give us a rating on your podcast platform. And you can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any social media platform. Follow us there as well. Before we do finally head off though, if there is anything you did disagree with or really agreed with, be sure to comment below, share your perspective. Whether it is the box office pie and how bad or great it is, do let us know. If Avatar is going to make less than $1 billion or over $3 billion, jump in there as well. Otherwise, you guys know what to do. You can try and find us on moviegames.com. And if you're too lazy for that, then just sign up to our weekly newsletter and just don't miss a beat from us. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. We'll catch you on the next one. Keep bringing the hype. Peace.
See ya.